party. Yeah. If that's all you've ever perceived,
Wow.
is those two angles, your hand is moving. Is time moving? If all you've ever perceived are the angles that you have programmed into your sensory system of time, time is moving. Time is passing. But is your hand actually moving? Are you moving your hand?
No.
Your hand is stationary, and so is time. And being able to be at ease with that, you can actually develop a relationship with forever. So let me read this. That is what is a parallax, right? Parallax is a displacement or difference in the apparent appearance, position of an object viewed through two different lines of sight. In each moment, how many lines of sight do you engage? Uncountable. Some of them are emotional lines of sight. Some of them are physical lines of sight that are not taking place now, but have taken place in the past, or are about to take place in the future. And you are actually consolidating all of those into your perception. And that's why we yogis call what you experience Maya, an illusion. This is measured by the angle, and this starts to sound like Yogi Bhajan, or semi-angle, of inclination. It comes from the Greek parallaxis, meaning alteration. Angle or semi-angle of inclination. Do you know what an inclination is? An inclination is your fate. How are you inclined? Before you add anything to your position, how are you inclined? Most people go, what are you talking about? Stuff happens and I react. Really? How in charge is that? What we are attempting to achieve through our practice of Kundalini Yoga is the awareness. Kundalini Yoga, the yoga of awareness, is the awareness of those angles and semi-angles of our inclination, of the angles of potency, potential in our perception, in every moment. But we can't do that in an intellectual format because we'd be just going nuts with all the words. But we can do that with an attitude. And the greatest attitude is obvious, the one that rhymes. What is it? Gratitude. But also, can you imagine that if you always felt like you have forever, then there would be no illusion of time pressure. Now, when there's no illusion of time pressure, things actually take place more efficiently and effectively. It's like the old saying when the the little children asked the wise grandmama, Babaji, Naniji, now that we are grandparents. When the little grandchild asked the grandmom, how long will it take, Granny? And she said, well, if you take your time, it should take about a week. But if you hurry, it'll take a couple of months. The pressure in a universe that always creates the equal and opposite reaction. If you apply pressure, what applies back? An equal amount of pressure. But what if you had this sensation of immortality? What if you had this sensation of no resistance? Have forever. no rush. You actually slide through. That's why you see these paintings, a couple of them, Guru Gobind Singh and Guru Har Gobind, maybe 2 or 3 of them. What do they have in their hands, some of them? A sword. And you're going, what kind of yoga is this? The sword represents moving through time without shifting time. That's the symbolic meaning. Good that you came. Slip slightly to your right, and then you don't have to peek from behind the post.
There's space here.
Yeah. Move around. Let him, the cheap seat is not a good idea. The symbology of the sword is being able to slide through time without disrupting it. Because if you disrupt it, what does it do back to you? It disrupts you. So if you disrupt time or space, it disrupts you back. And usually space disrupts you physically, and time disrupts you emotionally. Because your relationship with time is an emotional relationship. It's the emotional bodies, the subtle bodies. Your relationship with space is the 5th body, right? Which is the actual physical body itself. Yes?
Yes.
And so you want to be able to have this relationship with time-space that is inherent in your view, so that when your sensory system gives you this circumstance, or this person, or this idea, or this location, that you actually are able to perceive it through your sensory system in the way that it is, as opposed to the way that it appears to be moving because your parallax is distorting it. And any time you can be in touch, in tune with the people around you, the places around you, the circumstances, the ideas, you will be in touch with both sides. Both the projection and the reaction. When you're in touch with both the projection and the reaction, you can be like that sword and pass through that time-space with both projection and reaction propelling you. That is when you are not the doer in any way, shape, or form. We're going to meditate today, connecting to the breathing between the breather and the breath. Connect to the moving between the mover and the moved. So when you're actually moving, whether you're emotionally moving a project or a concept, or an idea, or a person, or you're moving through physical space, if you're the mover, it's a struggle. If you're the moved, it feels a tremendous duality, which if it's an extreme case, you feel extreme uncomfort, abused almost, but not like, So when you are the moved, when you're the object, you don't feel like you're in control. When you're the mover, because you're not the mover, you're in struggle. When you're the moving, you're being drawn by the wave of the appearance of time moving. And you actually, all you have to do to change direction is have the inclination. What does water do on an inclination? Flows in the direction of
gravity.
The inclination. The inclination gives the angle, gravity gives the persistence. That happens physically, that happens emotionally, that happens mentally, that happens existentially. Wouldn't it be wonderful to master this equation from this center point of knowing, so that no matter what you got involved in, you were in confidence, faith, with. You were in with faith. So you got, it wasn't that I can't do that, I don't know how. It's I will do this because it's here. I will do this because it's here. It's here and I'm here, therefore there is a relationship. And I will be at the core of that relationship. And at the core of that relationship is the explanation. Yogi Bhajan said, never ever ask how. Always determine why. And if your why is important enough, is compelling enough, the how is fed to you. That's the nature of the cosmos, because the physical cosmos will not tolerate a vacancy, will not tolerate, as he would say, a vacuum. Wherever the whole science, which is not so accurately scientific in today's world, of meteorology is all about that. High pressure, low pressure. It moves water around the planet. That's the whole purpose of weather. The whole purpose of tornadoes, the whole purpose of hurricanes, the whole purpose of typhoons is to, in that centripetal force, to force more oxygen into the atmosphere using the compelling component of water. And that's how life, these storms are what enable life. Well, you say life is, you hear that new life, it's so gentle and so calm. What enables that gentle and calm is to be at the center of that storm. Because when you were assisting Narayan Kaur to be born, she was in the worst crush. Can you imagine the pressure of the final stage of birth? It's like, right? It's like the craziest pressure. Moving through the pressure by allowing yourself to be that sword through time. That is grace. That's what we want to achieve in our life. We want to achieve that grace, to be able to allow the circumstances to be seen as they are, not as they appear to be. You know that sign on your right rearview mirror, right? Things are closer than they appear. I saw the greatest cartoon. It was one of those Larson, is that his name?
Gary Larson.
Gary Larson. It was the picture of a bloodshot eyeball. And it was like the eyeball covered the whole mirror, and underneath it says, objects are closer than they appear to be. And you're going like, that's way too close. Right? That is the pressure that you experience when something feels overwhelming. So when you get the benefit of that sensation of being overwhelmed, go, oh, wow. What am I up to here? I have a different sensation of time-space than my current circumstance is requiring. Because there is no this. There is no this is overwhelming. There is a perception of that movement, of that size, of that inability. If you're experiencing it, it's because you are. And because you are it, is equal to you.